Hello, how you guys doing? We have some sad news to report. Brian McKnight's son, Nico, 32, has passed away from stage 4 colon cancer. He came out and he let everyone know that he was battling. They said he was battling for 2 years. As you guys know, Brian McKnight, he has pretty much disowned his kids. And we will talk about that in this live. And it's sad that he didn't even see his son's last moments. I'm hearing that Nico didn't have insurance. We'll get into that as well. And Brian McKnight, brother, he is speaking out on the family's behalf. So let's listen and hear what the uncle has to say. And then let's talk about the family dynamic and your thoughts. But rest in peace to the McKnight family. Rest in peace to Nico, gone too soon from colon cancer, stage 4. All right. So make sure you guys comment. I want you guys to engage in this. I want to know your thoughts and how you're feeling. And I'm so sorry if anybody has had family or they're dealing with this cancer themselves, because a lot of people are, So comment, engage, and let's hear what the uncle has to say. Okay.
So all day, I said to myself I wasn't going to post about this. And as the day wore on, I realized that how could I not post about this? This morning, I found out that my nephew, Nico McKnight, passed away. He'd been bravely battling cancer for the last 2 years or so. And I have a lot of feelings right now. I'm not going off a script or anything like that. Just going to be raw with how I'm feeling. Nico was one of those amazing kids who was quirky and curious and ridiculously talented. Amazing singer, an amazing guitar player, had a great eye, was a photographer. And just one of those kids that, at least in my estimation, was somebody you always wanted to be around. And so it really sucks that he's no longer with us. So all day, I said, and I will also say, probably one of the reasons why I wasn't going to post about it is I post a lot of things, but I don't post a lot of really, really serious subject things, or certainly family things. And I wanted to post this about Nico, about his legacy, about how amazing he is, and not about what some of you may have heard about, the family drama that has existed for quite some time in our family. I'm not here to discuss that or to talk about how that happened or why it happened. Um, this is not the time or the place, but what I will say is in any situation, there's always at least three sides to a story. There's my side, your side, and the truth. And the truth, a lot of times, is somewhere in between. So here's the thing. And I will also say, probably one of the reasons I don't know exactly what was going on there. I know what I've seen, I know what I've heard from all parties involved, and I try not to judge. I just try to be as loving to each person as I can be, because apparently there's so much hurt going on, or was so much hurt going on, that a lot of things didn't get resolved. And again, I want to go back to Nico. I know that kid had a lot inside, a lot eating at him for a long, long, long time. That may have contributed to what happened with him. What I do know is he's out of pain now. And so I can rejoice in the fact that he no longer has to go through the chemo and the radiation and everything else. But I just want to uplift that young man and say we will see him again one day. I love you, Nico. Uncle Claude. I don't know exactly.
Wow. So that was the uncle speaking out for you guys that just coming in here. Brian McKnight's son has passed away at the age of 32 from stage 4 colon cancer. As you guys know, Brian McKnight have called his son a product of sin. Brian said he tried to help his medicals, but the mom refused to allow him to help, so he stepped back. Just to give you guys some more insight, if you guys missed the uncle speaking, I will play it again. Just press 3 if you guys want me to replay. This is Brian McKnight's brother that's speaking on Niko's behalf. This is Niko's Instagram, so you guys can know a little bit about Niko. I'm going to go through his Instagram.
Testicles. All right, I told you guys, vlogs are back. But I think from a much cleaner perspective, I feel like if you go look back at those old videos that I was doing, they were coming from a place that was very, hey, it's all good. I just got diagnosed with cancer, but life moves on. Everything's fine. Everything's great. Like, it didn't faze me at all. And that is not sustainable, at least for me. I feel like I was coming from a place that just wasn't genuine. I'm freaking out every day, all day long. And there's no way for me to fake that. There's no way for me to overlook that. I hit the button, and then I'm just like, okay, I still got to live my life. And it's like, yeah, regardless, life moves on, man. So now I'm coming from a place that's more like, bro, like, you do only have one life. So like, why are you going to waste it living by, this fake reality? It's like, bro, you're going through it, man. So go through it, but show people you're going through it. So maybe they can, learn how to go through it a little better. That's what this is all about. So more coming, but more stuff than this. I have ideas for carousels. I have ideas, just all different kinds of new, refreshing that doesn't only revolve around me dying. So stay tuned. We're doing it together, guys. Let's see where this goes. Here goes nothing.
Whoa, that was deep. This is Brian McKnight's son, the one that passed away. In this video, he talked about cancer, and he talked about how he's so afraid of dying, And could you imagine to have to go through that every single day? And he said he's tired of faking it, like he's so strong. And he wanted to have a good relationship with his father. But his father, you know how his father is. This situation is really, really sad and hurtful. So I'm gonna see some more clips. I'm on Niko's page right now. So this is what he put. These are some recent posts he put before he passed away. My forever love, you are literally the greatest thing to ever happen to me. So I guess it's the girl he was dating. I love you so much. Thank you. Okay, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. These are some other pictures. I guess some shirts. Just to give you guys some more insight of who he was. I like that car. Okay, this is Niko, Brian McKnight's son. I guess this is him, battling that cancer. And if you guys want me to replay the uncle, Brian McKnight's brother, speaking about Niko, please press 5. I know some of you guys are just easing on in here. Press 5 if you guys need me to replay some stuff. So this is him, and they say he lost a whole bunch of weight. He's been battling this for 2 years. And he said he's tired of faking it, so he want to tell you guys the real. And I guess this is his girlfriend, and she stuck with him by his side to his last day. He just left. All right, that's him. Okay. All right, these are some pictures. It is so sad. You right about that. It's so sad. All right, so this is Brian McKnight's brother speaking about his nephew, Niko.
So all day, I said to myself I wasn't going to post about this. And as the day wore on, I realized that how could I not post about this? This morning, I found out that my nephew, Nico McKnight, passed away. He'd been bravely battling cancer for the last 2 years or so. And I have a lot of feelings right now. I'm not going off a script or anything like that. I'm just going to be raw with how I'm feeling. Niko was one of those amazing kids who was quirky and curious and ridiculously talented. Amazing singer, an amazing guitar player, had a great eye, was a photographer. And just one of those kids that, at least in my estimation, was somebody you always wanted to be around. And so it really sucks that he's no longer with us. So all day I said, and I will also say, probably one of the reasons why I wasn't going to post about it is I post a lot of things, but I don't post a lot of really, really serious subject things, or certainly family things. And I wanted to post this about Niko, about his legacy, about how amazing he is, and not about what some of you may have heard about, the family drama that has existed for quite some time in our family. I'm not here to discuss that or to talk about how that happened or why it happened. This is not the time or the place, but what I will say is, in any situation, there's always at least three sides to a story. There's my side, your side, and the truth. And the truth, a lot of times, is somewhere in between. So here's the thing. And I don't know exactly what was going on there. I know what I've seen. I know what I've heard from all parties involved. And I try not to judge. I just try to be as loving to each person as I can be, because apparently there's so much hurt going on, or was so much hurt going on, that a lot of things didn't get resolved. And again, I want to go back to Niko. I know that kid had a lot inside, a lot eating at him for a long, long, long time. That may have contributed to what happened with him. What I do know is he's out of pain now. And so I can rejoice in the fact that he no longer has to go through the chemo and the radiation and everything else. But I just want to uplift that young man and say we will see him again one day. I love you, Niko. Uncle Claude.
Yep, but that was
I don't know exactly.
That was his uncle speaking out. So there's so many other videos I would like to play regarding Niko. This situation is so sad. It's so heartbreaking. And I invite you guys, if you guys want to speak out, feel free to hit that link in the chat. And I urge you guys to make sure you guys like this video so we can bring awareness to this topic and to talk about these type of things as well. So I need you guys help with that. If you can like this video, I need you guys to comment and engage. So right now I'm on Niko's page, his Instagram, so you guys can get more awareness of who he was. And I tell you, he just did a video before he passed away and it broke me down, just to hear this young guys and how he's speaking about knowing that, the doctor told him that he was going to, pass soon, and how he's battling that cancer. It definitely don't seem fair at all. So he said he's tired of faking it. So, and I also wanted to look into, I guess, Brian McKnight and his last horrible words that he had to say about his kids being a product of sin. I would also like to take a look at that too. But I urge you guys to like the video. So I'm going to play it one more time, one of his last videos before he passed away.
Before you go out.
Okay.
Okay, testicles. All right, I told you guys, vlogs are back. But I think from a much cleaner perspective, I feel like if you go look back at those old videos that I was doing, they were coming from a place that was very, hey, it's all good. I just got diagnosed with cancer, but life moves on. Everything's fine. Everything's great. Like, it didn't faze me at all. And that is not sustainable. At least for me, I feel like I was coming from a place that just wasn't genuine. I'm freaking out every day, all day long. And there's no way for me to fake that. There's no way for me to overlook that. I hit the button, and then I'm just like, okay, I still got to live my life. And it's like, yeah, regardless, life moves on, man. So now I'm coming from a place that's more like, bro, like, you do only have one life. So like, why are you going to waste it living by, this fake reality? It's like, bro, you're going through it, man. So go through it, but show people you're going through it. So maybe they can, learn how to go through it a little better. That's what this all about. So more coming, but more stuff than this. I have ideas for carousels. I have ideas, just all different kinds of new, refreshing that doesn't only revolve around me dying. So stay tuned. We're doing it together, guys. Let's see where this goes. Here goes nothing. Okay.
Ooh, I have to have some strength in order to get online and to say that, and to say that I'm going through it, and I want to show the world I'm going through it like that. All right. So here are some. What's this?
RG is sad to report that Nico McKnight, his
Even bravely,
children in recent years, including
Niko was one of those amazing kids who was quirky and curious and ridiculously talented.
Brian has had a strained relationship with most of his children in recent years, including Niko. In 2024, Brian claimed during an Instagram live that after learning Niko didn't have insurance, he and his current wife, Leilani, acted immediately following Niko's cancer diagnosis. He said he requested Niko's medical records and hand-delivered them to a top specialist who outlined a treatment plan to give Niko the best fighting chance. He said he put down a deposit to secure the place, but then he got a phone call from Niko's mom, and she told him Niko didn't need his help. Niko's mom told Page 6 that the story was untrue, and Brian was a liar. Niko is survived by his wife.
Did you hear that? Brian took that money to help his son, and he went out lying, talking about the mom told Brian, we don't need your help. And the mom said that's not the case. She never said that, because he didn't have insurance. And it's people don't take care of you if you don't got no money. Whew. And she said that Brian lied. He took it because I don't know. He just didn't want to help his son. I don't know why he took it. Can y'all tell me why would Brian McKnight, he got all the money in the world, why would not he want to pull money from his son? Why would he want to help his son, act as if he helped his son, and then you want to snatch that away? To me, that is so cruel.
And family members who loved him deeply. RRG extends our heartfelt condolences to his loved ones.
All right. So let's look here. This is some old videos of Brian McKnight, talking recklessly about his kids.
Hey guys, it's Brian McKnight here. I've been traveling about 17 hours to Guam. I have a concert tonight, and I got off the plane to some of the most heinous craziness I've ever seen in my life, that my oldest son, Brian, would post that I'm abandoning my children. And the reason why, I suppose, is because I have a new family. And I guess this stems from a post that I made the other day about my son, Jack, who I'm very proud of, which isn't to say I'm not and haven't been proud of my other children, but I was proud of this one for the things that he did that day. We'll get back to that in a second. Anyone who knows me knows over the last 20 years, 30 years now, as a matter of fact, that I've been there for my children every step of the way until recently. And let's be clear, my two sons are 30 and 27, not 12, not 13, but 30 and 27. Now, my daughter's about to turn 18. That's another story I'll get to in a second. I've never missed a day of child support. I've never done anything adverse to my children whatsoever. I've always been there. I've always been there with advice, whether they took it or not. I've always been the sounding board, and I've always been the one that tried to help them achieve whatever dreams they were wanting to reach out for. I guess one of my only faults is I gave my children everything that I didn't have in the hopes that they would appreciate it, because I know how much I would have appreciated it when I was their age. I would tell you, as parents out there, entitling your children is probably one of the worst things you can do, and I know I am guilty of that. For whatever reasons, I'm guilty of that. Tough love is a tough thing as a parent to try to institute to your children, because you want to help them as much as you can, and I did as much as I possibly could. When I stopped doing that for them, BJ was 25 and Nico was 22. And it wasn't like I completely cut them off at that point. That happened much later. But I've been there. When I put them out of my house, I gave them an apartment for 2 years. And I said, guys, this is it. This is the time to grow up. I'm giving you 2 years. I'm going to pay for everything for 2 years, but you're going to have to work or do something, because at the end of those 2 years, that's going to be it. It's time to be men here, guys. It's time to grow up. At the end of those 2 years, they hadn't done any of it. It was just right around the time that Leilani and I had gotten together. Leilani was working at Children's Hospital. And let's be clear, Leilani has been one of the only people who's been an advocate to keeping us together, to keeping us having a relationship, because she wants to have the nuclear family as much as I did. And they have spit in her face at every turn. She got them jobs at the hospital, $18 an hour with benefits, and with the option of the hospital actually paying for them to go back to school. They said, and I quote, that they knew they didn't want to stop smoking, and they would have to pass a drug test. And the day I had the doctors looking into it, Nico's on there, taking a big puff, which is fine. If you want to smoke, that's fine. I'm not saying that that's bad. If that's your choice, that's your choice. But what I'm telling you is that we have been advocates for them every step of the way. Now let's go to the part where we have been estranged. Again, we talk about abandonment. I'm not abandoning them. We are estranged, which happens more often than not in this particular situation. BJ broke into our home a few months ago, and he put X's on the eyes of our wedding photos. And then he put a photo of my first wedding on Leilani's vanity. It was at that moment, and after I heard him say, and was pointed to from other friends of mine that saw his posts on social media, that he basically said that I was better off dead to him than alive. I was more valuable to him dead than alive. And that was the end of me dealing with him. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see that not my last video, but the video before that, 42, the song was written by Brian and I, and it was directed, the video, by Niko. And I went on and I said how proud I was of Niko at the time, and I really, really was. He did an awesome job in that video. Even before that, less than 2 years ago, these are the two gentlemen who stood up for me as my best man in my wedding. So abandonment, deadbeat dad, I'll reiterate, I've never missed a day of child support. I've been there every step of the way. BJ, he talks about Jack's new car. BJ had 3 brand new cars before he was 22. But I'm not talking about material things. None of this has anything to do with money. It's about respect. Respect goes both ways. And even in family, there's a line that shouldn't and should not ever be crossed. It's crazy to me that people will just believe anything. And I thought it was important to set the record straight and let you guys know that abandonment has nothing to do with any of this. Deadbeat dad, I've been there every step of the way. And let's also remember that these kids are 30 and 27, not 12. It's time for grown men to be grown men. And I'm sorry that tough love happens to be this way. And I do wish them the best. I want them to have and to reach their dreams and their full potential. But like any other man in the world, you got to go out there and you got to take it. As far as my daughter is concerned, her mother, if you look back at my Instagram, she was a part of this family too, with Jack and Julie and Leilani and myself. And unfortunately, along the way, a couple of years ago, I got wind that there was an older cousin who was above 18, who was quite possibly having sex with her. So I called, as a father should, to the state office for children's affairs there in Arizona, and I never heard anything back. But the next thing that her mother did was to block all of us from her social media, from her phone, and completely estranged her from us. So what that told me was they didn't want me to be involved in her life that way. So to see the post that she said, considering that her mother only had a child with me for money in the first place, and I'll reiterate this, I have not missed a child support payment. She goes to one of the most incredible private schools in Arizona. So I don't know where this is all coming from, but I thought that I needed to let everybody know that there's another side to this story. You can choose to believe what you want. I thought that I would lay it out there for you. Anything that I say is actual and factual. All you have to do is Google Brian McKnight and Sons, and you'll see us singing all over YouTube. Go back and look at my Instagram. Go back a couple of years. You'll see that I posted about all of my children. But remember that these kids, these boys they're grown men, and tough love is exactly what it is. It's tough love. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. And I hope that gives you a little bit more perspective.
Wow. I wonder if he knew that he only had a couple of years with his son, would he have changed his attitude then? I don't even know, because when Brian McKnight knew that Niko was battling with cancer, he still didn't do all he could. He said he tried to give the money to get the best doctors. Then the mom said back off, which the mom said she did not say. Brian is doing what he wants to do. And I hear Brian talk about money, but what about spending time? I mean, you never stop being a father. You always have to spend time with your kids, whether they're 40, 50, 30. Time is so much valuable, more than money. Spending time teaching them the know-how, versus just giving them money. Actually, time. But here is another video that's give more information about, the Brian and his son Niko situation. I urge you guys to make sure you guys like this video. If you guys are just coming in and you guys want me to replay Brian McKnight brother speaking about Niko battling stage 4 colon cancer, please press 3 so I know to replay it if you just coming in, okay? And I urge you guys to please like this video. Please support the channel because we need to start talking about this. And I put a link up in the chat. If you guys have any talking points, you want to say something about Niko or the relationship between the father and the son, feel free to do so, because we only have one life to live. And I think it's so heartbreaking that he didn't have the close relationship, or just not even a closer relationship, but to be able to mend that relationship with his father before he left. So I'm going to continue to play.
So did Brian McKnight just admit to abandoning his own children?
And I'm sorry that tough love happens to be this way. And I do wish him the best.
Brian McKnight has been getting a lot of heat online after people found out that he basically threw away his kids when he got married and he started a new family without them. Now what? Well, Brian is trying to defend himself and explain why he abandoned his kids, and y'all are not going to believe the wild things he had to say. So is it his children's fault, or is he just a bad dad? So singer Brian McKnight is getting roasted online for being a total deadbeat dad because he has been accused of straight up cutting off his first 3 kids, who happen to be black, from his life when he met another woman and got married. I know this story seems kind of wild, but listen, there is some juicy brews of tea. Brian used to be married to a woman named Julie McKnight for over a decade, from 1990 to 2003. They had 2 sons together, but Brian couldn't keep it in his pants and ended up fathering a daughter with some other woman. Julie was cool about it and accepted the baby girl Brianna into her family, but then Brian decided that he was done with the marriage and he filed for divorce in 2003. Well, fast forward a couple of years and he got remarried in 2017 to a woman named Leilani Mendoza. She already had 2 kids of her own before she met Brian, and they also had a son, Keiko Mateo. Unfortunately, he passed away as a baby. But then they had another son earlier this year, and they named him Brian Kanoa Makoa, or Brian Jr. for short. And this is where things get hella messy, because Brian already had a son named Brian Jr. with his first wife. Now, Brian's messy situation with his first 3 kids has been going on for a while, but it was the new birth of his new baby that made people really sit up and can notice, and it doesn't look good at all because Brian doesn't acknowledge his kids. He pretty much pretends like they don't exist. And like I said, it took the birth of his new baby for people to realize it. When the baby was born, Brian took to Instagram to write a cute note saying, "Dear baby Brian, every time I look at you and kiss on you, I'm feeling feelings that I did not know I could possess. An overabundance of love between a father and his legacy that cannot be measured. You see, I never was a sentimental man, not until I met your mommy and fell head over heels in love with her. And because of our love for one another, I realized my true reason for being here on this earth, and it's to be her loving, faithful husband and to create that legacy of that love. My namesake, my joy, my baby boy. You. I promise to love, protect, teach, guide, and comfort you every day of the rest of my life. And after I'm gone, I bestow upon you all the fruits of my labor as true heir to take care of you and yours for generations to come. You are my perfection, my son. I'm so proud to give you my name and just as excited to watch you live up to it." Now, this would have been real cute if he didn't have 3 kids before this, but he made no mention of them, instead referring to the baby as his true heir. Now, people think that he was taking a dig at his kids by making it clear to them that they are not his heirs and he wants nothing to do with them. Also, did y'all catch the part where he said that he never felt an abundance of love?
Could you imagine hearing this in public? I mean, he put this in public, and you're dealing with colon cancer, and you are, about to be on your way, and you're hearing about your father having a newborn boy and pretty much saying that you don't mean anything to him. And I mean, that has to be hard. That has to be hard to hear.
Our child before this baby was born. This is just showing that he never really loved his older kids when they were born. And it kind of explains why he found it easy to abandon them. And when he abandoned them, he did not look back because in his Instagram bio, he says, "Father of Julia, Jack, Kekio Mateo, and Brian Kanoa Makoa." And there was no mention of his biological kids. And if this doesn't show that he doesn't want anything to do with them, then I don't know what does. Also, Jack and Julia are his wife's kids from a previous relationship. And it just looks like Brian is taking his job as stepfather way more seriously than his job as a father of his own kids. He often hangs out with his stepson and they even take trips abroad together. They take cute family vacation pictures together, and he even bought his stepdaughter our brand new BMW for her last birthday. So it looks like he is the world's best stepfather, but not even close to being the world's best father. Oh, and don't even get me started on this post where he posted a picture of Julia and wrote, "Jules, I became a girl dad because of you, and I couldn't have asked for a better daughter." The post was weird because he already has a daughter, and people felt like he was shading his daughter because he put "you" in all caps, and that was just extra messy. His son Brian Jr., well, the first Brian Jr., has called out Brian in a lengthy Instagram post where he said, "I can't imagine abandoning my children, man. It's hard not to imagine the psyche of a man that can truly just turn his back on his actual sons, on his actual blood and creations. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't think there is any situation that merits the way my father has chosen to treat my brother, my sisters, and his grandchildren, one of which is his firstborn son, who also bears our name." He continued, "It breaks my heart, but not for myself, specifically for my siblings and my children. They don't deserve this at all, not one bit. And I'm not letting it slide, not for 1 second. I've tried my best to take the high road and be the bigger man and all the positive ish, but there is a much bigger issue here. When it comes to Black fathers, especially in entertainment, that needs to be addressed." This is just so heartbreaking to hear because, again, it just shows how Brian just completely cut them off. I mean, he hasn't even met his grandson who bears his name. So when he cut his kids off, he cut them off completely and hasn't been in contact ever since. His daughter, Brianna, also made an Instagram post about how he hurt her by cutting her out of his life. She said, "Daddy's little girl was never really a thing for me. I grew up thinking that the things that happened to me in my dad's relationship were my fault. I grew up thinking that he doesn't want to come visit me because he doesn't love me. Constantly put behind other kids that he would call his own while I'm cast into a land far, far away in the back of his mind. It sucks knowing that someone else who's not even blood related to you comes before you in every single way. It sucks knowing that my phone calls have to go through a stranger I barely know, that my text messages are read without a response, and that my stepmother tells me that they wish the best for me. She continued, my father hasn't called to wish me a happy birthday in years, and yet I sit by the phone every single year hoping that one day his heart will change. I'm so fortunate to have two brothers who are father figures to me, who celebrate me and love me every single day, and that will make up the time that we lost. From this post, Brian's wife Leilani doesn't look so innocent in this drama either, because it looks like she might be encouraging his decision not to have his bio kids in his life while spending a lot of money on her own kids. I know I've said this so many times already, but y'all, this situation is so crazy. Well, the internet has been doing what it does best, and that's been dragging Brian from every angle. There have been comments saying Brian McKnight being intentionally nasty and antagonistic towards his biological children. No relationship, fine, I guess, but to have these IG captions about his new wife's grown children who aren't his and his half-black child being the perfect kids he always wanted, evil. Brian McKnight's boomer butt is on social media playing petty games like a bitter ex-girlfriend with his bio kids. And on top of disowning his children, Brian McKnight consistently uses his stepchildren and new baby with his current wife to take digs at them. Extremely unhinged, because if you were happy and at peace, you wouldn't need to do all that. Well, Brian came out to try to defend himself, and he just made things a hella worse.
Tough love is a tough thing as a parent to try to institute to your children, because you want to help them as much as you can, and I did as much as I possibly could. When I stopped doing that for them, DJ was 25 and Niko was 22. And it wasn't like I completely cut them off at that point. That happened much later.
At first, this doesn't sound so bad because he made it seem like he just wanted them to work for themselves and not depend on his money. Sounds good, right? But it still doesn't explain why he completely abandoned them or pretends like they don't exist. Cutting them off financially is one thing, but moving on with your life without your kids, yeah, the math just ain't mathing. Also, it's weird that he said he doesn't want to spend money on his kids when he's buying his stepdaughter a brand new BMW and taking his stepson on trips abroad.
Every step of the way. And let's also remember that these kids are 30 and 27, not 12.
Man, just say you hate your kids, because that, and she's absolutely right. For him to come out and disown his kids later on, let you know in the previous, when he was coming out talking about, he's not going to financially help them, it came from a very hurtful, hateful place for them, because he don't have a problem spending money on anybody else's kids, and taking on other people's kids, but his own kids he disowned. Now, what that got to do with finances? If you disown your own kids in public and don't want nothing to do with your own kids in public, that has a lot of hate rooted inside of you, so all that smack he was trying to, well, it's all about the money. It wasn't about the money. He had a hatred for those kids.
It's time for grown men to be grown men. And I'm sorry that tough love happens to be this way. And I do wish them the best. I want them to have and to reach their dreams and their full potential.
But if you think this is bad, it gets even worse, because he tried to defend himself for abandoning his daughter. And y'all just got to listen to this man's excuse.
And unfortunately, along the way, a couple of years ago, I got wind that there was an older cousin who was above 18, who was quite possibly having sex with her. So I called, as a father should, to the state office for children's affairs there in Arizona, and I never heard anything back. But the next thing that her mother did was to block all of us from her social media, from her phone, and completely estranged her from us. So what that told me was they didn't want me to be involved in her life that way. So to see the post that she said, considering that her mother only had a child with me for money in the first place, and I'll reiterate this.
So his minor daughter was allegedly getting SA'd by an older family member, but Brian decided to cut her off because he had a disagreement with her mom? That's just wild. And again, it just shows that he never really cared about the kids because he should have stuck with his daughter after that. Him using her essay and her mom's reaction to justify his abandonment is just crazy. Also, his statement about how her mom only slept with him for money was completely irrelevant because he was also involved in the baby making process. He was just trying to justify his actions with that, but it just didn't fly. But I need to know what y'all think about this mess. Do you think that his reasons for abandoning his kids were valid, or do you think that he is absolutely vile? Drop your thoughts in the comments and then check out this next video.
He's horrible. All right. So this is another video I came across that talks about Brian McKnight.
Brian McKnight's son, Nico McKnight, came forward to explain that he has been trying to tell the world that his father is not a great guy. Nico is 28, and his father, they have been on the outs since.
Now, Nico, this is the one that passed away, and Nico have came out years, before his death, telling the world that Brian McKnight is not a good man. This is Nico, the one that passed away.
22. Around the time the R&B singer says he cut him off. So the young Nico and his brother, Brian Jr., are the children Brian McKnight shares with ex-wife Julie McKnight, whom he was married to from 1990 to 2003. McKnight also fathered another child, Brianna McKnight, outside of his marriage with a woman named Patricia Driver, and a son named Clyde with an unknown woman. Today, the only children the singer acknowledges are Julia McPhee, Jack McPhee, and Brian Keone McKnight, the children he shares with his wife, current wife, whom he married in 2017. Julie.
Did y'all catch that? These are Brian McKnight kids. These are his kids. And let's not forget about, these are his kids. But he don't claim none of them. He claimed them. Did y'all catch that? Press 7 if you caught that.
Are Julia McPhee, Jack McPhee, and Brian Keone McKnight, the children he shares with his wife, current wife, whom he married in 2017. Julie and Jack are Lee Laney's children from a previous relationship, but McKnight has adopted them as his own.
Adopted.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this.
Did you get that? Just not the stepchild, but adopted, officially adopted. Ain't that something?
Called Indisputable. We just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content. Children.
So lastly this week, I want to big up my man right here. See, he gets it. In order to live a life that you love, you have to get rid of the evil and the negativity, even if that evil and negativity is related.
What?
We want everyone to live a life that you love. Our hashtag, that's what it means. Hashtag I love our life. But in order to do that, you have to get rid of all that evil and negativity. There's so many angry and upset and negative people out there. We want to use our platform as a place of positivity. So look, here's another somebody asking about my one and only daughter, Julia, asking about how she feels about a post about her graduation. Well, how do you think she feels? She feels great. See, Julia understands the scriptures. Exodus 20:12, where it says, and I quote, honor that.
Did he say one and only daughter? Isn't that something? Man, one and only daughter. And that's not.
Father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. See, she honors us, and in turn we honor her because she knows how proud of her we are. And here's something, if you're going to leave snide comments, at least allow us to tag you when we reply. It's so cowardly, but
Put up Brian McKnight's photo again. I'm no coward, sir. You are. While you're quoting scripture and calling your children evil, let me remind you that the Bible says, suffer not the little children, for they shall lead them. And a child shall lead them. That means that children provide some of the greatest lessons in our journey called life. You fail to learn them. McKnight would gain criticism online for his tasteless videos about his family. Let's put it up. Pac 1913 said, the same God that said, honor your father and mother, also said, children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. And train up a child in the way he should go. And in his older age, he will not depart from it. Your children are a reflection of the work and prayers and spirituality and moral compass that parents pour into kids. You disown kids that you created, and you are also against God, but judgment day is between you and your maker. So carry on. Brian McKnight responded, God wasn't talking about children that are the product of sin, which these are. 2, I didn't raise them. Their mothers did. 3.
Hold on. Did y'all hear that? Brian McKnight said these are a product of sin. They are a product, I guess, calling them bastards, so they don't count. What do y'all think about that? That he says that his kids are a product of sin. What are y'all thoughts? But let's go on. I need you guys to engage more. I need you as a community to communicate more because it affects all of us. You know, we need to talk about it more. And I need you guys to like this video. If you guys like me bringing this type of content, no AI, but just real content, I need your support, okay? By liking and share the content and engaging. All right, let's continue on.
What? A product of sin. Sir, the only person who would have committed a sin, which means separation from God, is you. Your children did not. Following McKnight's making those headlines for his harsh words toward his offspring, Niko took to the comment section of the shade room to blast his estranged father. Quote, I'm evil? Question mark. That's wild. The guy who used to make me clean his used condoms out of his bathroom at 15 before Lisa got home is calling me evil, said Niko. The guy who forged SIGs on our names is calling us evil for sure. Niko's response weren't limited to Instagram. The second oldest McKnight child also took to X to thank his supporters for having his back throughout the entire ordeal. Quote, thank you guys for finally seeing that we weren't lying. He wrote, admitting that he wasn't always the perfect son. I will always admit I was spoiled beyond belief. But I'm doing all I can do to correct my flaws. It's one of the saddest things I've seen because it's like death from a million paper cuts, you know? I want to say this to the children who have been adversely affected by this cynical, narcissistic individual. Whatever you're carrying inside of you that he put in you was never your fault. It was never you. Clearly, we can see his flaws and his unwillingness to correct them. You see, the journey of humanity is the journey of flaws. We all are imperfect, but you have done something he has failed to do. You, Niko, you said, I am working on me. God bless you, man. because you are demonstrating how to break the cycle that this man created.
That's Niko. He's talking about Niko. And this is Niko's last post. This is the guy that passed away just the other day from cancer at the age of 32, stage 4 colon cancer. This is the last video from Niko.
Testicles. All right, I told you guys, vlogs are back. But I think from a much cleaner perspective, I feel like if you go look back at those old videos that I was doing, they were coming from a place that was very, hey, it's all good. I just got diagnosed with cancer, but life moves on. Everything's fine. Everything's great. Like, it didn't faze me at all. And that is not sustainable, at least for me. I feel like I was coming from a place that just wasn't genuine. I'm freaking out every day, all day long. And there's no way for me to fake that. There's no way for me to overlook that. I hit the button, and then I'm just like, okay, I still got to live my life. And it's like, yeah, regardless, life moves on, man. So now I'm coming from a place that's more like, bro, like, you do only have one life. So like, why are you going to waste it living by, this fake reality? It's like, bro, you're going through it, man. So go through it, but show people you're going through it. So maybe they can, learn how to go through it a little better. That's what this is all about. So more coming, but more stuff than this. I have ideas for carousels. I have ideas, just all different kinds of new, refreshing that doesn't only revolve around me dying. So stay tuned. We're doing it together, guys. Let's see where this goes. Here goes nothing. Okay, testicles. All right.
And this is the uncle.
So all day, I said to myself I wasn't going to post about this. And as the day wore on, I realized that how could I not post about this? This morning, I found out that my nephew, Nico McKnight, passed away. He'd been bravely battling cancer for the last 2 years or so. And I have a lot of feelings right now. I'm not going off a script or anything like that. I'm just going to be raw with how I'm feeling. Niko was one of those amazing kids who was quirky and curious and ridiculously talented. Amazing singer, an amazing guitar player, had a great eye, was a photographer. And just one of those kids that, at least in my estimation, was somebody you always wanted to be around. And so it really sucks that he's no longer with us. So all day, And I will also say, probably one of the reasons why I wasn't going to post about it is I post a lot of things, but I don't post a lot of really, really serious subject things, or certainly family things. And I wanted to post this about Niko, about his legacy, about how amazing he is, and not about what some of you may have heard about, the family drama that has existed for quite some time in our family. I'm not here to discuss that or to talk about how that happened or why it happened. This is not the time or the place, but what I will say is, in any situation, there's always at least 3 sides to a story. There's my side, your side, and the truth. And the truth a lot of times is somewhere in between. So here's the thing. And I will also say, probably one of the... I don't know exactly what was going on there. I know what I've seen. I know what I've heard from all parties involved. And I try not to judge. I just try to be as loving to each person as I can be, because apparently there's so much hurt going on, or was so much hurt going on, that a lot of things didn't get resolved. And again, I want to go back to Niko. I know that kid had a lot inside, a lot eating at him for a long, long, long time. That may have contributed to what happened with him. What I do know is he's out of pain now. And so I can rejoice in the fact that he no longer has to go through the chemo and the radiation and everything else. But I just want to uplift that young man and say we will see him again one day. I love you, Niko. Uncle Claude.
All right. That was Uncle Claude. And thank you, Angie. Angie said, come on, y'all, come out the bushes and like the video for Gigi. She ain't lied. Thank you, Angie. Whew. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, Random said, count your days. How dare you not send me a notification, beloved Gigi. Thank you, Random. I don't know if I told you, Random, but I'm going to be going live, a lot more often. I got something to prove out here in these YouTube streets. So you guys might not always get my notifications because YouTube only allows, I believe, 3 notifications to go out. So therefore, you always just have to check in, but I will be going live more. I would say about 6 or 7 times a day. I will be going live more between the hours. I would say 1 through 9, 1 through 10. I'll be going live more often. So please just check for me. All right. Thank you so much, Angie. All right. Hey, Kavan, I didn't get enough notification. Yeah. Kavan, didn't I tell y'all on the last video? I said I'm gonna come live in a good 20 minutes. Okay. But I understand. All right. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm hungry. I want to give me some barbecue, the boneless that fall off the. It's gonna be bones, but fall off the bone. And I want to give me some candy yams with some mashed potatoes. That's what I'm craving right now. Because I haven't eaten all day. I did eat today, but I only had chips earlier today. So I think it's time to give me some lunch. And I will resume back possibly around 5-ish to do some more content. And I would love for you guys to join me and support this channel by making sure you guys subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. Thank you, Kavan. Honey, I got something to prove, okay? Okay. It says all this technology in the year 2025, YouTube should be ashamed of themselves. You right? But you know what, Random? I always look at myself. How can I be more accountable? I have to be more serious. And I've been hearing people they do, I guess, something where they have their fan base supporters signed up and they send emails or they send text messages every time they go live. So that's an option that I will look at in the future, So comment, love you all. I appreciate you all for being here with me. Lord knows I do. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.